into this world as a man one time, you give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and being do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was
Oh, I mean, 100%. I can see his point when it comes to you being a heterosexual male who is forced into a really dark situation like this for the gratification and offering of prosperity and taking the next step. What I mean, when you hear this, right? And I'll be honest with you, Terrence Howard's testimony here, this is a massive, massive statement. Okay. If anything, when we talk about survivors coming forward in cases, we've had every level of civilian come forward in this case. Please, Hollywood, follow in Terrence's footsteps and come forward with your testimonies, because it's clear to see there are people with talent that only make it so far. And when you don't hand over this manhood, you get stuck in your tracks.
It's basically if you're a person of integrity and you walk away from that, you're punished by they basically they stall your career, like they won't allow you, they blacklist you. But his this clip is absolutely fascinating. He talks about Bieber. It's absolutely
Or Paula,
right.
he just refused to give over his manhood.
That's what he's talking about. That
Yeah.
but that's there's
But listen,
integrity. That's what I mean by that.
let me play devil's advocate. So does that mean he would be against taking someone's manhood? If the
I don't
choice is give over yours or take someone else's, and there's a tape out there and he's being forced into it because this man does not look comfortable. Okay.
know.
And I'm not saying that's what's happened, but we have to ask ourselves the multi dimensions of this case, the control and everything. It could be a theory, but personally, I think this is the one to be listening to 100%.
Yeah, he's amazing. Just listen to what he says. I was shocked.
all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid, and next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Mm.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principle.
Do you know, I think this, using the term man card, is the wrong way of framing this, right? Because I feel like it's trivializing what is effectively a negotiated R word.
Well,
to
no,
yourself.
the thing is that if you willingly do it,
But who,
like
but will,
like when, for example,
okay.
nobody has ever claimed that Bieber was art. It's just that he went with it. And
No,
now
no,
he's
no, I get it. No, I understand. Okay. But we're talking about, anyway, let's continue with this. Let's not split hairs this time, but I'm not disagreeing with you.
There are, and that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process, I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place. What benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal.
Mm.
And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Did you ever?
He's basically saying that some men sold out. He's not talking about the people who were hard. He's talking about the men who did this, or women who, okay, I'm going to sleep with this guy. I know he's gross, but, he's going to get me to the next level. You know what I mean? That's what he's talking about. He's not criticizing clearly victims that have been going through, um, you know, you know. So this is not what he's talking about. This is what he's saying when you give up. He didn't say when your main card gets taken away from you, which is different.
No, I
And
get
also,
it.
and you have to look at it from a cultural point of view too, Ron. Because for example, for I know that I have a lot of black friends, and for them being looked upon as a manly thing. They're men. So this is why they call it the men card, because it's very important to them. So at least from my friends' points of view, I can't speak clearly. I can't not generalize, but this is what he's talking about, that you give up, not that it's taken. You see the
No, I get
difference?
it. No. That wasn't my point. I mean, I'm completely aware of the control and the horror that goes with all of this. Just give me a second. Just keep going, Paul. I'm trying to find
No,
something.
no, no. No, I mean, it's just and the thing is that I saw a comment saying that this sounds like the Tate brothers. No, he's not talking about anything like that, guys. If you listen to what he's saying, is like and they ask him, and during the interview, did that cost you money? That cost your career? And he goes, hell yes, it did. It did cost me a lot of movie roles. It cost me a lot of things, because of course I was blacklisted, because I was not willing to do what they wanted me to do. So he probably would have earned an Oscar, like all those people thanking Harvey Weinstein for I remember Meryl Streep, one that used to be one of my favorite actresses, when they said, I want to thank God and Harvey Weinstein, like,
Right.
I mean, this is pretty. Ron, I can't believe you did the close up when I was making that ugly face. But anyway,
I do not have
but
an understanding. I
but
just
uh, but,
want
uh, but that's what it is. People sell their soul to the devil, and then they get angry because they get caught selling their souls to the devil. I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry for them. I
well,
agree with you, Linda Lou. I agree with you, Linda Lou.
I just want to. I'm not going to put the article up on the screen, but I just want to read this couple of paragraphs about Bieber. Justin Bieber has been seen publicly after sparking concern for safety over his 7-month-old son, Jack Blues. The sorry hitmaker 31 and wife Hailey Bieber 28 welcomed their first child in August last year and have mostly kept the talk away from their social media pages. They boast a combined following of almost 350 million on Instagram alone. However, over the weekend, Justin shared a rare snap of the youngster and himself in an embrace while soaking up the sun. While Justin is seen wearing a pair of black shorts, Jack is completely nude with a Space Invader emoji to cover his face and his dad's hand shielding his bum. Fans were quick to point out the dangers of sharing such a photo online, especially given that, obviously. And discourse rages on. Justin has seen in high pressure. Okay, so the reaction was, you've got 350 million followers. You probably shouldn't be putting partially naked pictures of your kids online. I can fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. And it's almost, again, why would you do that? Like, what goes through your brain to make you do that? Listen, Lisa, that is the one. It looks very like a humiliation task. You know, we can keep your name out of this for another month if you want. You just got to do this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It really is, man, and it's the level as well of money and power. When we talk about that vodka company, is it Soroka? Like, they're worth billions and billions. It comes with a lot of power, and the Diddy case is riddled with it. Now, we've got 3 hours ago a report on the Diddy case from, I do believe, Ventura. I can't remember this lady's first name.
Who's
Cassie,
that?
Cassie Ventura, that's it. As the federal SEX crime trial for Sean Diddy Combs is rapidly approaching, there is much speculation about what evidence is going to be produced against the rapper. However, we're more interested in what's going on, what's going to take, who's going to take the stand against him, and we may have one confirmed witness, and it's a bombshell. In the indictment against Combs, federal prosecutors accused the rapper of committing crimes against women labeled as a victim one. They described the victim as being a subject to alleged physical and SA abuse, and also described her to be a former long-term girlfriend of Combs per court documents. We first heard the allegations in Combs' indictment from former long-term girlfriend and Bad Boy Records signee Cassandra Cassie Ventura. She filed a lawsuit in November 2003, accusing the rapper of human transportation, all of this horrible stuff you can see on the screen, and other hollow allegations that stemmed from the so-called freak-off parties, where prosecutors allege women and men were under the influence unknowingly of substances and forced to perform acts for Mr. Combs' pleasure. He was also accused of using video footage to blackmail victims into compliance. According to TMZ, victim one is prepared to testify under her own name in the trial. Looks like we're going to see if the mystery individual really is Cassie or someone completely different. Meanwhile, the three other alleged victims are still remaining anonymous during the trial, according to the outlet, though the names of the women were given to Combs' attorney, the report says. What do you think? Because that would be pretty major.
Yeah.
Pretty major.
Yeah, I just still don't understand how he's the only one there though. And I know you say that they're gonna
We need to wait and see. This is the thing.
but then why haven't they called other people back? This is what I don't get.
Well, this is what I mean. It may be Diddy singing like a canary. That may be what drags everyone else into this. You know, look at how many people have ran for the hills. Where's Ellen? Gone. Leonardo DiCaprio? Gone. Oprah? Gone.
Well, no, Oprah's there. Ellen is in the UK, but she can still be recalled.
Oh, no, absolutely. But still, run away. They've all bolted. They can say it was because of Trump all they want, but
Do you think that that's what they're doing?
I don't
Saying
know.
that it's because I just don't get it. Because if it's a RICO case, at least 2 or 3 people should be with him, not just him. It doesn't make any sense. A RICO,
Right, but we're going to see Soul Therapy. He is singing 100%. Well, here's the other end of the stick on this Soul Lady D. He also has children. Okay, and if we're looking at the grand scale of this, he may be told to just say, "Hey, listen, Diddy, you better take this all on your shoulders." I'm just saying, evil
but do
is
you
evil.
think he really cares about his kids? You know, he doesn't strike me as the man who cares about his kids, to tell you the truth.
That's very plausible too.
I'm being honest, you know, like I don't. He doesn't strike me as the man who really cares about his kids. I'm sorry, you know, he's a very selfish man. That's what I get, anyways. You know, that's my take on it, and I'm just shocked that it's been what, a year and a half in jail, and they haven't gotten anybody else. I know that he might be singing like a canary, like whatever you want to call it, but they would
Well,
still need. I don't get it.
could you not argue that we have still got time for a massive sting operation where everyone's taken at once? Right, where we're going to see a huge Hollywood door knock, the big red key, as we call it in the UK. You know, that big red battering ram that they smash doors in with. We could be seeing that. And we could be seeing that the leniency or the conspiracy is how long it's taken and how many of them have been allowed to scramble. You know, I imagine Ellen is saving up for the Ellen clone that will get dragged back to the USA and will subsequently fall off a ledge, and she'll go and live on the island with Tupac and Lady Di and Elvis. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but I get it, but I don't understand why this man is not. I don't know. I just don't get it. I really don't get why, because I follow other RICO cases, and usually from the very beginning, one of the things that they do is they grab 1 or 2 or 3 people, so they play each of them against each other to see if they can get more information. But
Yep.
haven't only Diddy? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you can still go to RICO with one or two people if you can if you can prove that the crimes are linked to other criminal organizations.
What do you
Do you know
mean?
what I mean? Well, look at Sean's case. They tried to pin RICO on him, and it was just him and Wildman that were arrested. But they were trying to connect him to other criminal organizations that he dealt with, making it RICO. That's what I do believe was the case. I might have that totally wrong, because Sean was facing 250 years. Do you know what I mean?
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true. That
250
is
years.
true.
If the
That is
RICO
true.
had went through, he would have been. None of us would be here right now, chatting. You know what I mean? So
But the thing is though that when is his trial supposed to start?
5th of May, I think. Start of May, I think.
I don't know. There's something there that it's not jiving with me, and I am not the only one who have said it before, by the way. Other
Not
people
since,
have said that.
not since the late 50s, as anyone said. You're not. They're not jiving with anything. Correct.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm just busting your chops because I've just not heard the word jiving for a while.
But the thing is though that with Diddy, okay, what are they gonna get? Okay, they got him alone.
Yeah,
What if he's giving up names and they're not making arrests because the names that he's given up
correct.
are too powerful? Let's say, what if he gives up Obama,
Yeah,
Clinton?
yeah,
Because don't forget that the men on the island and Diddy ran in the same circles.
yeah.
And I don't know, I know many of your probably your subscribers, if I mention this name, they won't know who he is because usually the real important people, you never know their names really well. But just Ron Burkle is all I will say, because Ron Burkle is the godfather to Diddy's children. He's the owner of Soho House. He's
Yeah.
a billionaire. Who has an airplane that competed I think it was his was called something. I can't remember what his airplane is called.
Any billionaires, right? They're heavily invested in anyone who just so happens to be up for massive RICO transportation cases. Need to be have at least a couple of questions thrown at them. I feel it's not guilty by association. It's just there's not many of you billionaires compared to us regular folk, and associations with people who you may or may not have a good idea of what goes on behind closed doors. They've got a lot more to lose than the regular person, if you see what I'm saying, in the grand scheme of what makes, I don't know, what somebody have something to lose, if that makes sense. Excuse me a second, Paul.
Mhm. No, well, yeah, I get it, but what if he gave up the names, but nothing is happening because these names are too important? That is the problem that I'm having with all of this. I mean, even comedians in the United States are making fun of this. I think that Dave Chappelle was also saying something like, "How is that possible that there's only one black dude that's in a RICO case?" The crime itself, it implies, that there's more than one person involved, and the fact that they're not.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Diddy was arrested and then the mayor of New York was arrested, and there was such a bond and connection between those two, could we not argue that that was possibly connected to this or discovered through this? And it's not much, but we could say that's something. But I think you're right, Paula. And I don't know who was it that said that they thought he was going to be singing like a canary, but I think it's very plausible. And I think the worry is that are they acting on his reports if he is indeed doing that?
I know, but well, okay,
DiCaprio bolted as well.
it's like saying, it's very hard to, because I know I keep going on about it, but it's like saying, okay, we're arresting. We know that there's a band of thieves that is robbing, right? And then you have a group of men going to a bank and rob, and then the police arrives, and instead of taking all of the robbers, they decide to take only one, and then he gives up the names of the other members, but they're still charging him as being part of a band of robbers. Do you know what it doesn't make sense? And to me, this is something about something else, to tell you the truth. It's got to be something that we're not being told. It's got to be something that really important people, and I do believe that Obama and Clinton are involved because he was heavily into donating for them and to them, and Hillary Clinton. Ron Burkle, I do believe that Ron Burkle is his main. Ron Burkle, guys, is an incredibly powerful guy. And Diddy, and he's also a business partner of Diddy and his clothing thing, and also with the vodka thing, which a lot of people say that it was the vodka thing that got him in trouble.
It could be
So,
because when we look at the money behind these, Paula, like let me just look at
because it's very questionable that you have Harvey, Diddy, and Epstein, three people that are deeply connected, but Ron Burkle, who's a partner of Diddy, is not even called in for questioning or nothing.
right. Well, that's where the power stops. That's the power factor, isn't it? Right?
Somebody saying BlackRock.
Yeah.
It's like because it doesn't make sense. Why haven't they called Ron Burkle? He was a business partner to Diddy. He did attend the party.